Hello guys, welcome to Modern Web Channel. In today's video we'll be creating Disney Plus clone. This will be UI clone only. You can see we have a logo here, with other links. And we have a search box, exactly same as Disney Plus, with amazing effect. We have subscribe button and login options also. After that, we have a carousel, same as Disney Plus. It has infinity effect, means it plays in a loop. The important thing about this is that this is dynamic. Means we are creating DOM element dynamically with JavaScript and attaching it to the carousel. This was very hard to make. As I don't know any library to achieve this same result, we'll be making this with pure JavaScript. Then, we have these awesome cards. Whenever you hover these cards, its video starts playing. It is same as the original site. And the last thing, movie cards. We have these movie cards with a beautiful card hover effect. And yes, we have a working slider also that we'll code from scratch. This video is a part of upcoming website clone series, where we'll make popular sites clone. So, if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and enable notification. I am very excited to make this. So, without wasting more time, let's code this. Let's see what files we have to start with. You can see, we have images folder and a video folder. And for files, we have an app.js file as a main JavaScript file and of course index.html and style.css. And notice we have data.js file also where I created a data array for you, which we use to create our carousel. You can download this start template from description. To follow the tutorial, you can see our sliders data structure. We have an array named movies, which contains 5 movie objects. We have name, description and image path stored here. So let's start. Inside index.html start by typing basic HTML structure. Link style.css file and our JS files. Make sure you add data.js file before our app.js file. Then only we can access the data. Create nav element and give its class name Navbar. Now, this star selector is used to add style to each and every elements of the page. It's a good practice to set all elements margin and padding to 0. Give body width 100% with a dark bluish background color. Note I have Roboto font installed locally on my computer. But for you to use it, you have to import that font from Google. For Navbar give these property. But remember to give its position fixed so that it will always be on top. Give some padding also. I am giving 4% padding from left and right. Why 4%? Because I wanted to make this exactly same to Disney Plus. Give the highest value possible to Z index. Otherwise our navbar will not be on top of other elements. I am using display flex here, just to vertically align its item. Make an image element inside navbar with a just give its height to 70 pixels and it will be good to go. Use unordered list to create navigations links. And inside that is tag with anchor link. For now you can give hashtag for the href. Again give some margin top, so that it will be perfectly aligned with the logo. Give nav links display to flex. List style none is used to remove list bullets. And for links, remove the underline by giving text decoration none. Use margin left to make some space between two links. Our links are also done. Create a div with class right container. This will hold our search box, subscribe button and login link. Quick CSS trick, use margin left auto to align element on the right side. But this trick only works if the element has display block. If you don't know any of these properties, ask me in comment section. We can add different styles to element on focus using focus keyword. Create a subscribe button. And use anchor tag for login. Remove border and outline from the button. Inside that, create another div with class Carousel, and this will contain our slide. Use overflow X to hide sliders overflow, and give it some margin top. Now, carousel, this is very important. Use display flex, so that each slide will be side by side. Give its position to relative. And use margin auto to place it on center. Now, as we have to create our slides with JavaScript, for now create it on HTML. Create a div with class slider. Use flex 0, 0 auto value to create a slide of custom width. Otherwise, because of the display flex, the slides will start to shrink. Give margin right to create space between slides. Give transition if you want smooth effect and overflow hidden to hide overflow, if any. Now create an image element inside slide. Object fit property is used to fit any object inside its parent, without breaking its proportions. And to align it to the right, use margin left auto. Now create a div, but remember, create it before the image element. And give it a class, slide content. Inside that, create an h1 element with movie title class. And also create the element with movie dis, short form for description class. Give its width to 50% with Z index 2, otherwise it will be below the image. For more styles, give a gradient background. Again, if you have any doubt or trouble understanding anything, feel free to ask me in comments. I'll be glad to help you. We just wanted to create a style for our slides. So now, we can delete our slide element. And let's create it with JavaScript. But before that, let's understand the concept of this slider. As this was very hard to make, I think it's worth explaining. So we have a carousel element in the HTML, right? So it is empty now. And we'll create a slider with JavaScript. So let's say we made our first slider. And when we add our second slider, it will look like this. But we want that slider in the center, right? So what should we do now? Remember, we gave position relative to slider elements. So, because of the position relative, if we somehow change first slider position, it will affect all elements after that. Let's see how. For example, let's set our first slider's margin left to -300 pixels. Why margin left? Because left property does not work properly on relative position. You can see, we just changed first slider's position and rest of the slider's position changed dynamically. So, this exact thing we are going to do now. We'll change our first slider's margin left only, with some calculation that I'll tell you later. Start by selecting our carousel element. Query selector method is used to select HTML element from JavaScript. And yes, I messed up here, these dots and square brackets are invalid here. It should be like this. After that we need an array to store our sliders, so we can easily manipulate them, and of course, we also need a variable to tell what is our current slide index. Set its value to 0. Make a function, name createSlide, whose purpose in life will be to create a slide. The first thing we need to check is slide index. So add if condition, set slide index value to 0 when it is greater than our movie's data length. If not, leave it as it is. Then start by creating DOM element. Make a variable and use document.createElement method to create that element. We are creating exactly those elements, which we already made in our HTML. Now, this is the most important step. Attaching. Append child method is used to attach a child. In this case, we are attaching an empty string to our image element. Create text node method is used to create a text node. Remember, we have to attach or append these elements, exactly same as the order of our HTML structure. For our h1 element, pass our movies array to get slide name inside create text node method. Do the same for p element, but this time fetch description. Now as you see in our HTML structure, h1 element is above the p element. So, to achieve that, first append h1 element to content element. And then append p element to content variable. Like this. Append content element to slide element, and do the same for image element. And, the last step of appending, append the slide content to our carousel element. So, this is how we create an element and attach it to the HTML. Now, to set image source, use image.src and set its value to and increase slide index variable by 1. Now, I know this is a lot, but we are almost done. So, for the styles which we created in CSS files, we need to give these elements a class name. And of course, we will give the exact same class name to these elements. End this function by pushing this slide element to our sliders array. And we are done for now. Let's check this function by calling it. You can see, the slide is being created by JavaScript. Now, the only last thing we have to do for the slider is adding a slide effect. Remember, we only have to change first slider's position. Use slider.length condition to check we have any sliders or not. If we have sliders, then get the first slider by giving 0 index. And use style.marginLeft to change its margin left property. Use template string here, and don't worry, we will understand this line in a moment. Calc is a CSS formula to do calculations. This negative sign indicates we want negative margin left. 100 because we want slider to go 100% off the screen. Multiplying 100 with this calculation because we want negative 100% per slide. Subtract 2 from sliders length because we want second slide to be in the middle. And yes, add % sign to indicate this is a percentage value. Subtract the margin value from this 100%. Doing the same calculation, but this time we are multiplying 30 because we have 30 pixels margin on right. I hope you understood this line. And, yes, I messed up again, I forgot to add a % sign. But you know, right? Now, instead of calling this function one time, call it 3 times on the start with a for loop. You can see there are 3 slides. And the first slide is off the screen, which means our function is working. Now, just use setInterval function to call this createSlide function after every 3 seconds. And we are done with slider also. For now, I am disabling this line so I can focus on developing the site. But you can leave it. Now, we have to create video cards. For that, create a div with class video container. This will contain our cards. Inside that, create a div with class video card. This is our card. Give containers height to 10 bw for responsive height. Use display flex here to perfectly align cards. Again, if you don't know any CSS property, ask me in comments. And please subscribe my channel for more. Give cards minimum width and actual width to this calculated value. Give overflow hidden to hide overflow, if any. My bad, correct this class name here. Now create an image element inside card with a class video card image. And of course, create a video element also. Make this video element mute and loop attribute. Give video's position to absolute, so it will be below the image. Now hide the image on card hover. We need JS to play the video. Select all video cards using query selector all method. And run a for each loop to select individual card. Add mouse over event to the card and inside that select video element. Children of index 1 is our video element. And use video.play method to play the video. Add mouse leave event to this card also. And inside that select video element, same as you select it on mouse over event. And use video.pause to pause the video. We are done. Now refresh the site. But remember, video will not play on hover if user didn't click on the site, as per Google Chrome policy. Now just copy and paste this card 5 times and change image and video path. Create an h1 element for title. Create a div with class movies list. This will contain our movie cards. Inside that, create another div with class card contain, and inside that, create card. Give this container position relative, not absolute. Give some padding left also. And use display flex to make horizontal effect. Now, this is important, set its overflow X to auto, which means if the overflow happening in X direction or right side, then show scroll bar. And set its overflow Y to visible, which means the overflow happens in Y direction, make that visible. And set scroll behavior to smooth to get smooth effect. Use WebKit scroll bar to hide the scroll bar because we don't want to see a scroll bar. Create image element and give it a class card image. Now, for the content. Make a div with class card body. Inside that, create name, description and watchlist button. Set its position to absolute, so it will over the image. Give Z index 2, so it will top of the image. And give some gradient background. Give margin top to align it on bottom. Again, give its position to relative, not absolute. Set its background, border and outline to none. Use before pseudo element to add image to the left side of the button. Content is the important property for before element. If don't give this property, you'll be not able to see before element. Set its width and height to 35 pixels and add background image. Use scale property to make it small. Add a basic hover effect to button. Set card body's opacity to 0. Add hover effect to card. Now, set card body's opacity back to 1 on card hover. That's it, we made this beautiful card hover effect. Now, just copy this card multiple time and change image path. After that, copy whole movies list multiple time. You can see I am done copying all the element. It's a lot. Now, inside movies list element, make 2 buttons with class pre-btn and next btn, and give image inside these buttons. Copy paste these button to other movies list element also. Set buttons position to absolute and give their width to 5%. Give border and outline to none also. Now set buttons background and left, right property individually. Well, the images are too big. So, let's make them small. Set its opacity to 0. And add hover effect. We are almost done. Now we only have to make a working slider. As you remember, we have 3 cart containers and 3 pre-buttons and 3 next buttons. So to select them, we will use query selector all method. Use for each loop over cart containers. Here we have to track item in index. We need containers actual width including its overflow. For that use getBoundingClientRect method. It will return the dimensions and position of the element. Now make another variable to store the element's width in it. Actually this will be like this. Now add click event to next button index of. Inside that event, add containers width to the item scroll left but subtract 200 at last. Do same for pre-button, but this time, instead of adding, subtract containers width from scroll left, and add 200 at last. You see, it's working. Let me enable the carousel effect again. Thank you for watching till the end. If you like the video, hit the like button and share this video with your friends. Make sure you subscribe my channel and enable notification for more.